Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track by an act named Fluorite Kids titled Honey Baby. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on YouTube. We're going to listen through it from start till finish and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. Let's do it. Fascinating sound design, actually. I was wondering if that was coming through headphones for a moment instead of my speakers outside of this. I like the charisma of the performance in the guy in the video, but also I enjoy the sound of those strum strings there, the little vocal parts interspersed between the jangliness, the jingliness of the brightness of some of those upper textures as well. I think there's some synths in there which are kind of pretty. And the simple boom, boom accents on the kicks hit 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and so there's a 16th note groove there with percussion overall. But those interesting accents there form a groove and a movement forward that syncs well with what's going on in the vocals. But what is the song about, though? What is the song about? I'm listening to this, I'm hearing the words, and I'm unable to decipher a definition from it. I'm gonna listen through this after this, just to kind of get a further context to it, just have a listen with the vocals themselves. I don't usually do it, but I feel a bit lost. It's definitely one of the most unique sounding tracks I've heard all year. Like, 2 minutes 20, obviously very short. Absolutely no filler in there. Filmed by Rat Rod, lyrics by James Barron. Cool, dope. Apparently this was filmed on like a phone. It's amazing what you can. No, I've been told that it's been filmed on a phone. Not that I think it was by just looking at it, but it's amazing what technology can do nowadays, So yeah, I'll be right back. I'm just going to listen through it again, and then we'll do the conclusion. So this is the conclusion. After listening through the song, without reviewing it, focusing on the lyrics, I heard parts of it. Like, I heard the part about not wanting anyone to steal his money. That's his ticket to Japan. And like when he was 15, a girl called the cops on him or something like that. And then there were parts about him like eating pasta, nice cheap Wrangler, etc. Not relying on boyfriends or something like that. I don't know, man. I don't know. Is this a general comment on his interactions with women and how they use guys for money or something like that? I mean, I always second guess myself in these reviews because I'm like, man, fuck, what? Shouldn't I know? Shouldn't I know what the lyrics are from listening to it? But then at the same time, if I can't understand the lyrics, I can't understand the lyrics. So there's that. I don't think I got all the words clearly, even on a concentrated listen. I think part of that was because of the way the vocals were filtered as kind of like a radio kind of tone to it, like with a bit of kind of like a lack of low end resonance there to kind of make it sort of seg more neatly in with the kind of the warm filter of the rest of the instruments in the mix. I gave it my best shot. The vocals were great. clearly charismatic, the A parts, where in the video he opens his mouth and makes that really big expression, that kind of change there. We clearly understand music theory and composition and how to write catchy hook lines. And, I don't think I really have any massive issues with how, he's approached it here. He said what he wanted to say for the most part. I think there's more context than I heard here, and I'm assuming there's more than meets the eye in regards to some of the meanings behind the stuff. Obviously, it's maybe he couldn't be too sort of blunt about the stuff that he was talking about. It was more sort of poetic than anything else. Outside of that, though, I'm happy with what I've heard from Fluorite Kids vocally. I think the rapping parts in the verse were solid from what the rhythm and the cadences and the way that he expressed themselves. They did fit nicely with the rest of the instruments in the mix there. And the flow and the rhythm of the hook line in the chorus was easy to follow along to and engaging, and the song was short enough to the point where we didn't have too much of it, and you were kind of left feeling like you'd kind of eaten enough for the meal and you didn't really need seconds. Although if they had another track at some point, you'd probably want to try a bit more of that. But yeah, it's a great first impression, at least vocally. The guys clearly experienced on the mic is told a story that they wanted to tell, and they were clearly in the mood and really into the performance itself, and that's exactly what you need in this day and age in the music industry. Yeah, the song at 2 minutes 20 is nice and short, well within that 2 to 4 minute sweet spot there, so no issues or dramas in that regard. The mixture of strings and synth leads and a bit of bass there, and that really kind of like friendly, gentle sounding percussion there, again with some filters there to kind of make it a little bit less blunt and a bit more kind of airy. Not like spooky, but like granulated, I suppose. It added a sense of warmth and mystique and mystery to it. The theme itself didn't really have your traditional major and minor kind of concepts within it. It had a melody that kind of sounded a little bit sort of uncertain or unusual, as if it never really wanted to resolve, and it never did. I think at the end, they resolved on like a 7th or an extension there, which indicates to me that maybe the stuff that they were talking about in here, they never found a solution to. There was the baby, the hey baby, the honey baby, etc. It was them calling out, waiting for a response, and I suppose maybe that's something they'll go onto in a future track. But that's okay, The boom, 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 boom. The arpeggios there with the synth leads are fine. The strum parts in the background or the string bits are a nice backing pad kind of texture there, nice and friendly sounding. Dun 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 dun. That groove there and the sort of the kick and snare bits, I suppose, was great sort of follow along to and add a little bit of punchiness to it without being too overbearing or cutting into the mix. And there was like kind of like that kind of tone as well in the background. That 16th note rhythm, which kind of flew the track along and gave it a bit more pace than it might otherwise have. Although it was at a quick tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Or maybe it was an 8th note. Maybe it was 1, 2, 3, 4. So it might have been an 8th note groove. The tempo might have been twice as quick as I was thinking it was. But whatever, it's okay. The individual textures wrapped well together, suited the theme, I think, and part of the lyrics I heard there. And you get the impression overall this guy is a little bit out there, a little bit sort of unique, but still quirky enough and sort of accessible enough for most people, I think, for him to get like a fan base with. The studio recording, mixing, and mastering. I don't necessarily think that it was a problem that the vocals are a little bit difficult to discern, because I think that was a deliberate production decision. It's just that I didn't get all the words, and I did listen to it clearly. And it's times like these where I question if my hearing is going bad, but then I've already gotten a hearing test where my hearing's damn near perfect according to the audiologist, so it's just very close to the rest of the elements of the mix, and some of the elements are a little bit difficult to discern, but that's fine. I'll allow for that, as I think the hook line did come through a bit more clearly. And maybe that just allows for repeat listens. The drums, percussion, strings, synth, bass, etc. I mean, the bass was subtle and that low end, Things were nicely balanced and EQ'd. There weren't any weird resonant frequencies in the frequency spectrum, and it was nice and wide in the stereo field. Yeah, the leveling was okay overall. There was dynamic range to it. I liked how at the end part we kind of had the lower elements or the punchy elements kind of fade out a little bit, and like the area bits kind of float. Stuff in the higher register things were not well on the free spectrum in that regard there. And we understood that even a short form factor track, we couldn't just let it sleep with the theme at the end. We needed to continue to move it forward and kind of have staging in and out. So that was great sort of self-awareness there. It was nice to allow without pumping. And I mean, this is my review of Fluorite Kids in their track Honey Baby, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show us some love via the various social medias and the YouTube page. Stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they either help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands Out.